Okay. So let's see. Uh, I also had to. I uploaded everything I've ever taught at UCF because you guys are going through accreditation or something, and principal needed it. So if you want to see anything from D6 all the way D5 through D7, I've never taught D8 here, so I don't have any of that. I can show you anything, but we're going to focus on 22 today. And I don't remember which ones are good or bad, so we're going to sort of experience this together, and then we can comment. Of course, they opened up in the wrong screen. All right. So do you all know any of these names? I should start there. Y'all know any of these names? Okay, good. So I can talk trash and it won't get back to them. I'm just kidding. So two of these people are some of my favorite people in the world. Janessa, I convinced to go do. She's a not a single mom, but her husband works away somewhere, so she's essentially a single mom, and she's going to grad school. So Jolene, she's someone you need to talk to probably, because she has kids and the whole bit. She's an amazing lady. I talked her into healthcare, and so she went and did that. I'd love to see where she is now. And then Brittany is probably kind of like this lady I had a few years ago, Ema, probably one of the most talented graphically minded people I've taught. She was also the what do you call it? The guy and the girl who directs the band, drum major. She was a drum major for the UCF for the Golden Knights, which was kind of cool, and also kind of a pain in the butt because she was constantly on the road with the football team, and I had assignments due, so that was the thing. Anyway, so this is their project. I won't talk about Blaine. This was their poster. So remember, it's the exact same project you all have in the exact same location, exact same program. So they had a conversation about the hero, in this case, recognize the location, right? So they took site photography to orient. This is, I don't know if any of you took this photo, but this would be a helpful one if you're thinking about doing some photography with your rendering, right? The building in your render or in your photo. This would be helpful. So just go up to the garage and take some aerials or drone shots. This was their site plan, analytical plan, and then their heat maps, some of their sketching, their programmatic diagram, and then this is their ground floor site plan. So the thing that's due on the 10th, this is their version of that. Okay, y'all picking up when I'm laying down? All right. This is their first floor plan. We don't need this whole title block thing. We do need a north arrow. We do need a graphic scale. We do need a legend, but we don't need, this Bethel pediatric. We don't. They made that up. We don't need that. All right, just the legend and the scale. These are their renders. So okay, not terrible, not great, but somewhere in the middle. Some floor plans, some more renders. This is probably one of the better images they had. I don't understand the black and white, why they included that, but whatever. They did a heat map. This was their, I think some of you are doing this. Some of you are doing a salon, or not a salon, but like a place for the women who are losing their hair to get fitted and made up and all that. And then they also have an art thing in the same space as the salon, which I think is kind of weird. Like I just don't think that's a great combination, but they they did what they did. So there's your floor plans, and the intent is to not show you the project necessarily. It's just to explain some of the what was the point of showing this again? What were we looking for? Oh, the models. Yeah, they didn't photograph their model for whatever reason. Matter of fact, this might be a common theme. I don't remember if anybody photographed their models. All right, how about Sophie, Johnny, or Valeria? Do you guys know these people? No? Okay. Pretty awesome folks. I think I told you, I think I remember telling you that what we used to do is they had to pick a person and they would design for that person, right? So it was their in their entire presentation, they were talking about how what they were going to do was going to affect their avatar. This was somebody they chose, and almost in every case, it's a relative who had cancer, right? So these were their posters. You can see the hands holding, and then this is the programmatic one. This was their site analytical plan. Some of their bioclimatic data. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that nice? And then these are some of their renders. Actually, this is their skin study. Again, more of a skin study to explain how things work. These are some of their renders. So this is an interior open to sky multi-volume. Shadow studies, programmatic stacking, understanding square footage as far as green space. This was their sectional perspective. I don't want none. Thank you. I don't. It's fine. I don't want it. Plus, people are going to see you don't have clothes on. Sorry. 7-year-old has no boundaries. Thanks. I don't want cake. And then, so there's another sectional perspective. This is their rendered site plan. So you see the difference between those two. So use your best judgment which way you want to go. This is a pretty good one, pretty good direction, I should say. Some of their perspectives. And again, remember how Michael asked for a plan that would show you where the view was from, right? That they kind of did this with these arrows. So these are those arrows. I guess this is this shot, right? So that's their lobby shot or lobby scene. And then this is the scene within the LINAC, an exterior pedestrian view, floor plans. This is a screenshot from their animation. I don't remember. I think this is education space. I don't remember what the library principal was. And I thought this was just a really beautiful garden space that they had. I think it's on the top floor. And then some orange trees. That's a common theme. We've heard that before. And then they also listed out the jury comments. I thought that was a really nice thing for me as a teacher to have documented that somewhere in their presentation. And then they showed their process. There's their form findings. So again, this is something you can share in the future. So do you remember that Compton? He made us do 40 models. That stupid guy. Other people had that same feeling. Right. So anyway, so that was a pretty good one, I think. Let's see. And I don't remember which ones were good or bad, so I'm just going to show you a good sampling. Ooh, okay, so this one's pretty good. I'll tell you at this time, Javi, anyone know these people? Javier, Alexandra, Olivia. So Javi worked at this time, was working for Universal Creative. And so he spent all of his time there and not much time in school. So he didn't really give it his all, if you know what I mean. This was their avatar. I don't remember her name. These were their posters. That's their Orlando poster. This is their program poster. Analytical site plan, programmatic stacking. This is their rendered site plan. So notice yet again a different style. I thought this was kind of nice as they show you a little bubble of the kind of things that would happen in those particular areas. That's nice. It helps to get you orient. Their process, Javi was really good at these sketchy watercolors. So he included that in his presentation, or their presentation, I should say. Bioclimatic data, shadow studies, skin studies, and they applied them to their form findings, which I thought was an interesting strategy. And then some further skin studies, which began and led way to their renders. Now, their renders are not the strongest part of their project, just so we're all on the same page. They're okay, they're believable, but they're not the strongest part. Floor plans are really well developed, nice floor plans. Do you remember us talking about the guy or the team that wanted the water in the ceiling? This is theirs. And despite me telling them not to do that, they did it anyway. So there's, you've probably seen these images. One was a grass, one was water, just to show different options. And then water falling down the side. What? No, thank you. I'm sorry, y'all. And then they had a therapy garden on the roof top also. So this was their final product. There's just their building. And then that's from the other facade. So notice that there's a completely different, in my opinion, there's a completely different character depending on which face of the building you're looking at, right? This is Orange and King. This is off of, what is it, McRae? Is it this is the one that runs adjacent or parallel to Orange? So I think that's pretty interesting. Any questions? I'm kind of running through these. I'm not really giving you a chance to comment or think. All right, I'll keep going. And I don't think there's any jeopardy of
Quick question.
Stealing ideas. Go ahead.
What software did they use to render that? Do you remember?
Enscape.
Enscape? Okay.
So Anthony, or Ants as I called him, my brother's name is Anthony, so I called him what I called my brother. He didn't love that, but it's okay. Anna, Alex, and Maj. Now they're the ones, if you remember me talking about, and I can't remember, I think this was in Project One, where I was telling you all to develop a partie that was, maybe specific to your background, specific to your culture. And in this case, they used El Marqués, which is, I think it's Arabic from Maj. And the idea was this, the center of all things. That's what they based their premise on. And so these are the sketches. Oh, there it is. Point of concentration. El Marqués. Alo Marqués. So they brought in vegetation into all their clinical spaces in theory to connect nature. And I can't remember, one of you were talking a lot like this, and I'm trying to remember who it was, but one of your teams was talking about, oh, it was Nico. Nico and Jolene, you guys were talking about the relationship of nature and how it interacts with clinical space. This is one you want to spend more time on, spend time reviewing. This was their site plan, not particularly good. This was their rendered site plan. This is better. Again, with these little bubbles that show you what kind of things you can expect, which is good. Satellite view. These are their courtyard. This is a courtyard render. Notice how none of these things are labeled. That's okay because you're going to be verbally talking through them. But when you do them in your portfolio, you obviously will label them. That lady looks a little funky. I'm not sure if she has if she has a baby or what's going on there. I don't know. It's a computer lady, not quite sure. Floor plan pretty well developed. Monster kid coming to stomp on us. I'm joking, but what's good about this image, and this is one of the things I want you all to think about, not that they did it particularly well, but the idea that your perspectives don't always have to be at standing eye height, right? So in this case, this is for a pediatric component to their program. So they took the rendering at the kid height, which I thought was really clever, because then you understand what the building or what the room looks like from their perspective, not always from the adult perspective. So I don't know that it was really well executed here, but the notion of and the use of a changed perspective height is helpful. Again, pretty well developed floor plans, some okay renderings, not awesome. Okay. This is their cafe yoga area. Let's talk about this for a second. You all haven't done a lot of this yet. I don't think. Maybe you have, but when you start to populate your interior spaces with furniture, it cannot be out of box Revit furniture, right? You have to go find furniture online somewhere that is not out of the box Revit. So for example, that's probably a Pottery Barn sofa. It's, a lot of these companies have their models in 3D and most have them in Revit. Just spend some time, do some research, choose furniture that's appropriate for your architecture, and be critical about what you use and where you use it and how you use it. I think they actually did a nice job of what we would call collateral for this space. So it's pretty well done. Similarly, the furniture uses here is okay, except for their table is like halfway embedded in the floor. So just be careful of things like that. That's not quite right. And then this is probably my favorite part of this. So this is an exterior. This is the El Marquez space, the center of all things. And they had this huge mural, which was done by a local artist. I thought that was a really nice touch. I don't love the final render. I thought it could have been better, but this is my favorite place that they had in their space. So I thought that was kind of nice. There's a different vantage point of it. And then I don't remember this part. There is their sectional perspective. So, oh, this is the chemo rooms. So the infusion bays. So that was kind of nice. So you get a view from the infusion bay into El Marquez. And then there's, I guess, the waiting area. Some programmatic stuff or required stuff. And that wavy shape is something that I guess not the way it's used here necessarily, but the way the shape itself was found in Arabic symbology. And so they took that and adopted it and made it part of their architecture. It's a screen. So I thought that was clever too. All right. Let's see. I think actually we've seen all of the best one. This one hurts my heart a little bit. So do you all know these people? No? Okay. I think it's going to be the default answer, but I kind of want to say it out loud before we get there. This lady in particular, Raven, I've known her longer than anybody else because when I was living in Jacksonville and we went to high school in Jacksonville, she shadowed me at my old firm, RSNH. And then when I came down here, totally unrelated, came down here, started working, she ended up being my student. I thought that was kind of a full circle moment. Her avatar, the person they chose, is one of her really close friends who had cancer and didn't make it. And that was really tough. She could not get through a presentation without crying, and sometimes to the point where she just had to excuse herself. So why am I telling you this? Not to embarrass her, because I don't think she's embarrassed. She loves her friend. It was because I want you to be able to, we never quite got there with her. I want you to be able to separate yourself from the avatar, right? If you're going to do that, so that you can convincingly, intelligently, and with some emotion tell your story, but not to the point where you can't tell it, right? And that's what happened to her. So just be very, very careful. Josie was her name. This is her friend that passed from cancer. Obviously, she's your age or was, and so it hurt everybody, right? It was a moment we all had to think about. So these were their posters. This is their rendered site plan. So for you, this is the thing they did that's due on the 10th, so 9 days. I think it's a pretty good job personally. Um, gosh, she's got me. So they use them as constant reminders of why they're doing what they're doing. So they showed pictures of Josie and pre and post chemo. This is a space that they did. Now you notice, or maybe you're noticing a lot of similar furniture. So what they did when someone found furniture they liked, they said, "Oh, go to this website and download this furniture." And then so we saw that same couch in almost every project. Be careful of that. I'm not saying don't share, but just be careful of that, right? Because we didn't all go to Costco and buy couches. So just be careful. So my biggest comment to them was that they did not spend a ton of time on the ceiling plane or the ground plane. So in this one, they actually did. So it kind of makes me a liar. But if you look in all the other images, there's just not a ton of attention to the ceiling. And so I want you all to think about when you're on the interior and you're designing these spaces, every surface is up for grabs, not just the walls. The floor needs to be designed, the ceiling needs to be designed, everything is up for grabs. So please pay attention to that. The floor plan, the curves, I just hate the curves. It's not that curves are bad, they're just not well executed. I tried talking them out of it. They said, no, thank you, which is fine. It's their prerogative. So it is what it is. This is the, actually, I guess it takes me to a YouTube link. We could probably watch this one. Although it's only 16 seconds. Or not. Okay, there we go. Are you all seeing the animation? Okay, good. So we speed up into a door and smack, hit her face in the door. No, and no, just me. Okay. Yeah. So very interesting. Oh, wrong one. Where'd it go? Did I lose them? Oh, I guess it, because I'm in the browser. Okay. So there's their programming document. That's their drone view, sectional perspective, although I think that might just be a true section. Bioclimatic data, another floor plan. Again, ceiling plane not really affected. No artificial light. It just, they either they ran out of time or they just, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for them. See, this one actually, there is attention to the ceiling plane. There is artificial light, so they spent more energy here. There's another video. I'm not gonna play it. And then they also had a rooftop garden. And then the final video through their space. Right. That's actually really nice. That's probably one of their nicer ones, although they don't have electric illumination. And then there's their entry sequence. Like, you'd never know that this thing was on the corner of Orange and King, right? Like, it just feels totally like a different world. All right, and then this is the last of them. Let's see, who was this? Ah, Andrea, Steven, and Carlos. So Andrea did all the work. Steven and Carlos just messed around. You all know these people? Anyone know these people? Yeah, a little bit. All right, who do you know, Alex?
I would talk to Andrea when she was in VA.
Yeah, Andrea's awesome. And I think she's at University of Texas now, University of Texas in Austin. Steve, they're all really talented, but they had, and this is D6, they had checked out, like they had already graduated in their mind. And I'm like, guys, you still got another year. What are you doing? But what was interesting about this is Carlos, when they did the animation, he didn't do an animation. He had a joystick and he walked them, using his joystick through the model, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know how he did that, but he did that. And it was really, really pretty good for the presentation. This was their poster, and then their Orlando poster. This was their programmatic poster. This was their person, their avatar. This was their sketchy studies. Obviously, they're focused on pediatrics. So their adjacency diagramming, their form finding. Do you remember me telling you that what I would do is we would do the form finding and then I would take someone else's form and give it to a different team? This is them, right? This is that class. And Andrea we almost fought over this. Like, she was not having it. She was very upset, but it worked out. So when you see all of their process work and then they end up with this, which is essentially a variant of that, that's what happened, because they didn't develop this. That came from somebody else. So whatever. So there's their bioclimatic studies or their heat maps. This is their site plan that you all have due in 10 days. This is their version. I think pretty well executed. More reasons for why we're doing what we're doing. This is their skin studies. And then their finished images. This is the approach view. And notice it's different than the form finding. So they continue to evolve their thinking. Floor planning. I think this was the beginning of an animation. Yeah. So they had really nice attention to ceiling and floor. Kind of a big empty open space, which is interesting. Not particularly a good view. That's a really strong view. Like, that's a really strong statement piece for their architecture or statement perspective. And then that ceiling is beautiful. I love that ceiling. They did a really nice job. It doesn't really respond to the floor, but that's okay. We'll give them a pass. Again, choice of views is weird. Just because you can do 25 perspectives doesn't mean you should do 25 perspectives. This one was a weird choice. Interesting choice, no branding, not enough lighting, kind of weird, not enough people. That's better. So, like many of you, what their added program was art, specifically kid art. So this is a gallery, but they had so few art between, so few pieces between. It felt like a museum gallery and not like an active gallery. What do you want to call that? This is the infusion bay. Really, really nice use of color. I mean, you could be forgiven for not knowing it was pediatric. I think it's just a good use of color. And then their gallery was on the roof outside of their infusion bay, which I thought was actually not a great idea. So everyone getting chemo was looking out at the people, the healthy people in walking through the gallery. I thought that wasn't great. But they had a logic and a reasoning for it. So but the idea is it's one-way glass, so you would not look through the glass and see the people getting infusion, but the people getting infusion could look out and see you. I don't know, it just felt weird. And then more of that space, but a different floor. So I think this was adult, and the super color one was pediatric. Again, notice the use of lighting in the ceiling. I thought that was a really nice touch. More of the pediatric view. So that's the infusion bay looking out at the gallery. And then that's their last image. So that's it. I had six teams that year. You've seen all six. So you had a good idea of what they did. What you're not seeing is their model, because none of them put it in their presentation. They had the model physical. That was a regret of mine. So I'm going to ask all of you, when you do your final presentation, include photography of your model so that we know that you made something awesome. But with that said, I am going to show you some model photography that was really good. I won't say whose project this was, but I'll jump into the models. All right, so not terribly good. These are the smaller models, right? The 16 scale. These are the 1/8 inch models. So I think actually I've shown you this one before, maybe. You all seen this one before? No? Okay. So it's a good sectional model. You understand how the building works, I think, a little bit. And then you're seeing, the half they pulled away and then the other side. So that was good. Let me show you this one. All right. So these are their posters. So this is D5, by the way, not D6. This is their poster. This is their Where We Are poster, and we did Wekiwa Springs. And then this is their program poster. Thought they did a nice job on those things. So I'm gonna skip ahead because the project doesn't matter as much as the model. Okay, this is their model. And I thought this is the smaller one. This is the 16th scale model. And then they did a really nice job on the bigger model. Right. So that's the sectional cut through. You get a real understanding of the sectional quality of that space. Space is plural. And then you see the other side and how the skin creates interesting architecture. So I think they did a really nice job with this model. There's some craft things that I would go back and do differently, but it's fine. D6. I'm sorry, D5. So they're one semester removed from pinup, right? You guys have much better model skills. This is pinup, one semester away from pinup. All right, and then let's see. I don't remember this one being good. I think this is the one that I showed you already as far as model. I don't remember this model being terribly good, but we'll see if it shows up. Or not. Maybe it heard me talking trash, is like, well, F you then, I'm not going to show up. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's not working. Oh, it's a 287 meg file. That's what I'm doing wrong. It's a massive file. We might want to go back in about 10 minutes from now. We'll come back and we'll see if it's loaded. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, here. Yeah, it's still loading. We're going to come back. Maybe it'll be ready in like 10 minutes. All right, so I can't remember who I asked to. Oh, now it's ready, of course, when I turn it off. I can't remember who I asked to show you this stuff, but here it is. And hopefully you got a pretty good idea on what others have done relative to this project and this site, and et cetera. And the expectation is that you do better, right? You don't do the same, you do better. So hopefully that's a true statement. Yeah, they did not include model photography. I'm looking through all this stuff. Do you want to see this? I mean, there's no model. Do you care to see it? Okay, I'll show it to you anyway. This was their project. And again, this is D5. Let's see. I don't remember who this was. Like there's no identifying things. Like I kind of remember who it was, but I kind of don't. Yeah, I don't remember. Not a lot of ceiling or floor attention. Yeah, I honestly don't remember. All I know is they're in the studio across from you, and I don't know. That's all I can say. It's not good. All right. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Hearing none, that's all I'm going to share with you. Unless you want to see something in Revit, how to do this XYZ. I'm open for Descripts. If you guys want to do them, you can put your name in the chat and we'll go in that order. If not, go start building some models. You got lots of modeling to do. Remember, the date moved up to 2/17. Remember that? So we're not in 2/24 anymore. It's on 2/17. I'm just trying to see if I can catch anybody. No, nobody fell for it this time. It's been 46 minutes. I thought it was possible. All right. All right. So Haley, Sarah, Roxanne, anybody else? Roxana, sorry. Nobody else? Okay. Well, you guys are free to take. Oh, Julia, Paula, Maria, everyone else. Okay, you guys are free to share your screen or whatever it is you want to talk about.
We have a question. If you could help us figure out how to design skin in Revit.
What kind of skin?
Just how to create it and apply it.
Okay. There's a crazy echo, but I understand the assignment. So let me see if I am going to answer you correctly. And it depends on what kind of skin you're talking about. So if you are talking about like a kinetic skin that you can apply a formula to and it changes and morphs as it goes on, that one's going to require a little bit more explanation. And probably I'm not the best one to show you that. I do know the right person to show you that, so I'll bring them into the next class. Or you could run across the hallway. So have you all met Patrick? Do you know who Patrick is in D8? He's the guy. If you want questions about skin, go talk to him. But if it's just very generic basic skin, I got that all day. I can show you that. So let me share my screen. Projects. Oh, share my screen. Which one is it? This one. Jolene, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just have a quick question, and I forgot, of course. I forgot. I'll get back to you.
Okay. So, and Haley, your question, as I understood it, was, how do you apply a skin, right? So the first implication there is you're talking about applying to a mass, like you're using a massing model, if that's what you're talking about, or you're talking about a wall that is a skin type, and which is a different conversation. But let me try the first one first and see if I hit home with that one. All right, so To do that, I'm just going to make a generic skin, I'm sorry, generic mass. And I will, and I think I've shown you this before, but at the risk of boring you, I will show it to you again. Let me see this in 3D. Okay, so there's my shape. I'm going to create a solid form. I'm going to manipulate just a corner of it just to make something interesting. So it's not a cube, right? So there's that thing. Let's pull that down a little bit and maybe, oops. Okay, so it's whatever this thing is, right? It's just a shape. I finished that mass. Now I'm going to apply a skin to it. In this case, I'm applying a curtain wall, and I'm going to give that curtain wall different parameters. So first, under architecture, curtain system, I'm going to use a 5x10, right? Actually, I'm going to do it in the massing tool. You can do it there too. So there's a 5x10 system. I'm going to pick this surface, and then I'm going to hit here, hit create system. And see how it created a grid? And the grid is 5 feet high and 10 feet wide. At any point I can, and this is just using the curtain system, this isn't true for everything, but at any point I can change this distance to maybe 15 feet by 3 feet. So make it sort of squatty and long, right? And the implication is that all of these things are glass or glazed, right? So that's now, if I turn on shaded and I turn off mass, because right now the mass is showing up purple. Oop, did I not do turn off mass? I did, right? All right, maybe I have to turn it off manually for some reason. Okay, so there's my curtain wall, which is glass, right? And it's going to do funky stuff because it's bending in 2 directions, which is probably not the smartest thing. But let's say I didn't want all of that to be glass, because right now it's gonna, and if I turn on shadows, you'll see no shadows, right? Why do you see no shadows? Because glass doesn't provide a shadow. But if you apply mullions to that glass, and the shadows are already on, now you have shadows, right? You with me? Okay, so you see shadows because of the mullions. Glass doesn't have shadows. But let's say I didn't want glass everywhere. Let's say this group, and you have to play with how you get the group. But let's say that group, I'm going to unpin it, right? Unpin, and I'm going to change that using the filter tool. I don't want the mullions, I just want panels. I'm going to change those panel types from glazed to solid, right? You with me so far? And now what you would do in theory, I'm just going to clean up because I don't need mullions where there's no glass. So I'm going to get rid of mullions. And then actually I'm going to do it this way because it's going to take me a little bit longer. Mullions. Okay. And then add back mullions where I should have mullions. So line segment. Okay. Right. So now I have glass and solid, right? But what if that solid isn't just a solid, whatever, but it actually has some other character or quality to it? So for example, I can go to families, curtain panels, system panels, solid. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to call it solid 2. And I'm going to change the materiality of that from default. Oh, it popped up over here. Sorry. I'm going to choose a new material and using Autodesk Extensive, and that's sarcasm, library. I'm going to use, let's say brick. Okay, so Masonry, where is masonry? Oh, here it is. Brick and let's see, I don't really like any of this. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna change that to, it says default new material, but it's really brick. And I'm gonna make that a 1 foot thick thing. Right? So now when I go back and I select those things, I'm gonna select just those panels. Right? Instead of solid 1, I'm gonna say solid 2. Notice the thickness of them changed, right? Because now they're that material, which is a foot thick. And if I change to textures, you'll see the brick versus the glass. Are you with me? So now when you say apply a skin, when I hear you say that, what I'm thinking is you have this form, this massing model that you're applying skin to, right? That's one way of doing what I just showed you. Another way of doing that is when you do what some would call out of a box architecture or real architecture, whatever that means. So let's say, so here's a wall, right? That's just a generic wall. I can change that wall to any one of these presets, which is, let's do brick again. Let's keep that theme. You don't, oh, here it is. Where is brick on wood stud? Oh, and of course it's backwards. Flip that. Okay. All right, see the brick? You guys with me? Okay. What I can do also, even with this kind of thing, is I'm going to split this wall, let's say right here, and this section of wall, instead of being brick on wood, will be brick on CMU and metal stud. And now it's a different wall kind. Does that make sense? And that's all just using the wall tool or wall command, which is different than the other way of stickering or applying a finish or applying a surface. Now, and I think I may have confused you. I confused myself. You don't only have to apply curtain wall. You can apply these other walls, right? So I'm going to choose a wall type. What was the last one I just used? It was brick on CMU, right? It was this one, I think. Click that. There's that, right? So you can also apply a finish that way. Yes, babe. Yes. Although I'm not seeing these things here that I thought we had on the other one. So I'll have to figure out why that is. There's something funky going on up there. But let's try this side. So this one, I'm going to do a different kind of wall. Let's do CMU on metal stud. See what that looks like. Yeah, so those are CMU blocks, right? So I turn mass off, and now I have applied walls, right? I didn't model those. I modeled the mass and I applied the walls to them, right? So which is different than this way of making. This way of making, I drew it in plan, split it, changed it. And you can also, with these things, you can edit the shapes of things. So let's say I wanted a circle opening. You can put a circle in that without cutting it or doing a Boolean operation. If I decide I don't want a circle, I reset the profile, that goes away. Oh, yeah, it goes away. Or, and then any variant of that, right? The other thing you can do if you want to get really dumb, and I'm being somewhat facetious, edit profile, circle, oops. I'm going to drag it over here. Okay, let's say I wanted glass in that circle, right? So I'm going to go to floor plan. I'm going to draw a wall. And I'm going to use storefront. That's fine. Click, click. Look at it in 3D. There's the storefront, right? I'm going to edit the profile of that storefront to be the same as that opening. And you have to clean up the line work, right? It's not going to appreciate you leaving the other lines in there. Delete elements. And now I have a glazed circle opening, right? So your question was kind of dangerous because I could spend the next 20 minutes showing you different ways of doing walls that aren't necessarily what you were asking, I think. I think what you're really asking is, with a design we have in mind, how do I put that into Revit? And that I need to see what you're thinking first in order to figure that out. So for example, let's say these mullions, or let's say this wall is facing west, right? What I've been telling all of you is that on a west face, you need to have vertical mullions instead of horizontal mullions, right? Well, that doesn't mean modeling something and adding to that surface. That means changing the profile of these mullions, right? Here's what I mean by that. So I'm going to go to families. I'm going to look for, where is it? Curtain wall mullions. Okay, you see this one that says rectangular and it has these presets. I'm going to duplicate this one and I'll call it dumb. Right, and then I'm going to edit the properties of that one to be thickness is depth of something. So I'm going to do that to be 18 inches. And then the width is how wide it is. So 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is in elevation view, you guys have seen this wall. I can get rid of it, right? I mean, I can show it to you again if need be. Okay. So all the verticals, I'm only selecting the vertical mullions, and I'm doing this, by the way, I'm holding down the control button and then doing a enclosing windows. That's a left and drag to the right. That's how I'm getting these. I'm going to filter out everything but just the mullions and then change that mullion to dumb. And now I have these things. All right. And if you don't like those, I can change dumb one more time and make it 3 foot deep. Right? See what I'm getting at? Now, is that the right solution for what you're trying to do? I have no idea, but there's so much power in the curtain wall tool to do the things you're trying to do with it. You don't have to ever do the other version of what I was just talking about. But you know, there's the massing tool in particular has a lot of strength. I think I've shown this to you before. Let's say I've changed the dimension of this, right? And hit that. You know, now you're like, crap, I got to redo all this stuff. Nope. Select that, update to face, update to face. I don't have to remodel anything. So massing tool in Revit is pretty dang powerful. That same exercise, had I told you to change the shape and then remodel that stuff in Rhino, would have taken you a long time. Maybe not Sadi, but everybody else, it would have taken a long time. Just kidding. Did I get you where you wanted to go, or are you trying to do
Yes,
something different?
thank you. I think we have enough information now to get started, so.
Awesome. All right, Jolene.
Okay, just quick question. When you were showing us those presentations, where do we find those again? I'm sorry.
You don't.
Oh, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you don't. That was a
Okay.
one time. Now, was I recording when we showed those? If I was recording, they'll live in the recordings, but you won't. I won't publish them so that you can see them. Sadi.
Let's say we have our entire model digitally in Revit. How would you go about turning the digital model into dimensions that we could use to make a physical model?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I've done that, right? That's how when I was in grad school, that's how I built my physical models, because I modeled everything in Revit first, and then I just sliced it up to, because we didn't have 3D printers back then. But we did have plotters. So I printed it at scale and then cut it out of the paper, and then used the paper as a template to cut my basswood and cut my plexi, cut my all the other stuff. That's exactly how I did it. So now, how would you do that? Dimensioning is really, really easy, but you don't have to dimension if you're going to print at scale and cut at scale. Does that make sense? So what I would do is I would cut the floor plans. I'm sorry, I would make floor plans at every floor at scale and print that. You already know how to do that. Take an elevation view, print at scale, cut it out using it as a template, and then Bob's your uncle. But to answer your question, and this one's probably a perfect example, because that funky curve wouldn't really print, right? Like, I don't really know how you make that work, because it's bending in two directions. But to answer your question, so as you go to the floor plan, okay, maybe not. See, there we go. And double click on the elevation marker, or if it doesn't double click, you can right click and go to view, right? So this is the 1/8 inch, which is unironically the same scale. Use at the very top. You can do annotate, or you can just use the quick buttons at the top, right? But click that. And I always start from the level lines. So level 1 to the top of this wall, click, there's one. Level 1 to the top of this wall. It doesn't like that. That's close enough. And you just dimension away. I mean, there's a million ways you can do this. But what I did, and maybe this is cheating, I don't know if I should have told you this. But what I did is I just printed at scale and used it as a template and cut it out.
I got you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yep, because you are building at 1/8 inch, which is a manageable printable scale. So you should be able to print it out and just use it as a template. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. What else? All right. So if I go back to the list, I think it was Haley, Sarah, and Roxanne. Roxana. I don't know why. So I think I told you my cousin's name is Roseanne, and that's what keeps messing me up. So Roxana. Yeah. Oh wait, that was your question. Never mind. Julie and Paola.
One of my questions is, for example, when modeling the ceiling, do you do the model in place and you add the geometry, you add more form, you overlay the ceiling? What would be one of the ways to do it? A strategy.
Yeah. So if you're doing simple elevation changes, right? If you're doing
Yes.
something like that, the easiest way to do that is in the ceiling plan. But if you're doing a funky shape, the easiest way to do that is in section. So I'm going to show you both. Okay. So here's the ceiling plan, and this is for the first floor of whatever this building is. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish a baseline or a ceiling, right? So I'm going to do architecture, ceiling, and this is a 2x2 grid, but I can also do GIP. Let's say I do a 2x2 grid. I'm going to sketch it instead of drawing it. And I'm going to use these geometries to help me out. Okay. And I need to close this up. It has to be a closed polygon for this tool to work. So no open ends. Okay, so there's a 2x2 grid. Now, if I cut a section through that, have I shown you the sectional perspectives? I've shown you what they look like. Have I shown you how to do them? I did or did not? All right, let me show you that. Let me show you that real quick.
Camera at the,
Yes. And then use the clipping box, the section box.
okay,
Did I show you that?
no.
All right. I'm going to use your question to solve solve that problem too. So ignore these green boxes. Matter of fact, those can go away, but we're going to use this real quick. In the properties box, which is this guy here, you scroll down a little bit, you see something called section box. You're going to check that active, right? That's this thing. And then you're going to move that until it starts to cut through your model, right? But actually, I don't want that cut. I want this cut, right? And then I'm going to use this tool to, oops, this tool. Where there's a better version of this. Where's that better version? Oh, here it is. Full navigation wheel. Oh, what? Press Shift W. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted. And orbit. Okay, so right now you're seeing there's nothing. It's just a flat ceiling. There's nothing really interesting, right? If I go back to that ceiling, and by the way, this ceiling is at 9 feet. I'm going to change that to 10 feet real quick. Wait a minute. 10 feet. Okay, now when I go back to my sectional perspective, it didn't really do much. And you can edit in 3D, by the way. You don't have to always come back here. The easiest way to make a hole in a ceiling is to open the ceiling up again and then draw, a hole. I'm just using circles because they're easy to explain, right? So I just made a hole. And then when I go to the sectional perspective, see how the hole is cut now, right? Now, I'm going to do a different ceiling and I'm going to put it just lower, just below this one, right? Like a cloud. So in this one, I'm going to go architecture, ceiling, and I'm going to use a different ceiling. I'm going to use the JIP this time. Sketch. I'm going to choose the line work that's already there, so I'm lazy. And I'm going to change it to 9 or 8 feet because I want it to be lower, noticeably lower. Okay. There's that. And then when I go to 3D, whoop, right? See how they're, that's just simple elevation change. There's nothing complicated. Now I can change the thickness of this by editing, the thickness of the thing. So let's say that's 3 feet. And now it looks like a soffit, right? So that's something you can do. Now I'm going to show you something a little bit more complicated. Okay. So now when I go, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave this view. I'm going to come back to the floor plan and I'm going to draw a true section this way. Okay. You with me so far? I'm going to try to do, although I think I'm going to mess it up, but I'm going to try to do it, a volume up. So the circle below is going to volume up to the ceiling out, right? I'm going to try to do that. I think I know how to do that. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a component model in place, ceiling, and then ceilings. And then it's called a sweep. All right. So it's called a sweep. I'm going to choose my path, or in this case, I'm going to pick my path, which is this circle, right? And then I'm going to edit the profile of that thing. And it's telling me where do you want to look at it to edit it. I'm going to use that section I just drew. And there's I'm cutting through, right? So I'm going to draw, click, 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 and then maybe use a radius like that. Are you with me? Hit OK. Bob's your uncle, maybe. Finish model. And then I look back at the sectional perspective. And then there it is. Right? So it goes like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, your question is kind of Oh, I can do anything. What is it that you're trying to do?
This already in line a lot. It's like a strategy that we were stuck, so.
Yeah,
perfect.
you can do very, very simple things like just elevation changes. You can do volume wrapping. A lot of people do barrel vaults because they're super easy to do. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to get rid of this round thing. I'm actually going to leave, I kind of like that donut thing. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go back to that section and I'm going to, again, model in place, ceiling. And then I'm going to just do a simple extrusion. Pick a plane. Let's see. I don't have a plane to choose. I guess I could use that one. And then I'm going to make a simple barrel vault, right? Just super, super simple. Something like that. And then I'm going to give it a thickness. Oop, graphic. Maybe 6 inches or something. And then I want it to come out of that ceiling. So a lot of people do these because they're really easy to do. And that doesn't mean it's not good design. It's just really easy to do. And then you hit OK. And then when you look at that thing in 3D, oh, I got to turn my section box off. Let me turn off section box. Where is it? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Bloop. Right? You with me? So now when I turn on my section box again, and you can do your absolute best to recreate my sound effects, you just won't ever get there. It's proprietary. You can try. And that's trying's half the battle. All right. So there's that, right? And then you can manipulate this thing to respond to this thing. Right? You with me? So you cut the circle in 2 places. Let's see. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Crud. I think I messed that up. That's okay. You'll get the idea. Right? And then what is that? What are we doing? What does that really look like? Well, I'm going to show you camera view of all of this craziness. And I don't have, oh yeah, I do have Enscape. So I could figure that out real quick. I don't have a floor, but so I'm just going to look around. See, there's that donut ring thing, and then there's a barrel vault beyond, and then a ceiling with an opening for the barrel vault. Now, if the donut thing is throwing you off, I can get rid of that, and now it's just a barrel vault. Right. So I'm just curious what this looks like in SketchUp. I mean, Enscape. That was a Freudian slip. Did I get you where you wanted to go?
Yes.
Awesome. Roxana, you already used your allotted time. Are you hijack? You jumping the order? I'm just kidding. What question do you have?
It was about the depth and ceiling. Is there a minimum that the depth can go? In relation to, because our ceilings are really tall, but is
Mhm.
there a minimum height that it has to reach? Or is that just based off of,
I'm not sure I understand the question.
uh,
What does that mean?
like ceiling depth when you're stacking material? Um, is there is there a height that it has like it cannot exceed below this certain
So
height?
ADA would dictate the ceiling height no lower than 7'6", right? So you really shouldn't have a ceiling height lower than that, but generally speaking, you don't want ceilings lower than 9 feet.
Okay, so
Yeah.
regardless of if we are doing that stacking effect, then no lower, even with the stacking, no lower than 9 feet, even if it's like in certain placements.
I think if you use it sparingly, you could have it below, as long as it doesn't go below 7'6". I'll give you an example. If we look back at 2022, am I still sharing? Yeah. I think it was this one. No, crud. It was this one. Yeah. So if you look at these ceilings, that ceiling's at 9 feet. This one, and that's the bottom over here is 9 feet, and it looks like it's about a foot of difference, and then there's another ceiling above it, right? And then this ceiling looks like it's just yet again above the 9-foot one, so this one might be somewhere in between. Let's say that's 9 feet, that's 9'6", and that's 10 feet. So it's a tiered approach, a staggered step. That's what they did.
Okay, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. So that's what they did, and then here's yet another different one. So they have this soffit that goes around the perimeter of the room. Then there's another one, which is this wood color, and then they have another ceiling, and so again another stagger step. So you can get really, I mean, look at the geometries. That's a beautiful ceiling. But it really is just it's 3 levels. There's the soffit, the regular level that these two are on the same plane, and then there's yet another level above that. So yeah, they did a really nice job. And then this one is just a donut with a soffit surround, and then this glass thing that's hanging down. All right,
Yes, thank you.
awesome. All right, Julia, I think I got you answered. Maria, you guys are up.
Wait.
Oh, sorry, Paula's reclaiming her time.
Wait, we have two just really quick questions
Mhm.
and then two. Okay. Well, first, we were wondering, we know that the staircase is like an emergency fire escape. We were wondering if there's any kind of like glass that can be used there as like a curtain. No, it needs to be
No,
concrete.
but what you can do, and I heard them say that in that meeting. What you can do is there's a technology called Wandoor, and it's WANDOOR. And oh boy, here it is, Wandoor. And what they do is they have a it's essentially an accordion door, but what they do is they have it set up so that you can use it around a open stair, right? So the only reason you can't have a stair open to the rest of the floor is because it's a refuge. But what the wand door is, the wand door is a 2-hour door that follows a path. Think of it like a curtain in the curtain track, right? It follows that path and creates a 2-hour separation from the rest of the space to the stair. Let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's see, industry, I guess it doesn't really matter. Application, corridor, elevator. Actually, area separation. I think that's going to show us what we want to see. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Look. So do you see that stair? Right?
Mhm.
And there's glass on the outside. You can have
Yeah.
glass on the outside. You can't have
Oh,
glass.
Yeah.
that's the
That's what we
question.
meant. That's
Yeah.
what we meant.
Okay, you can have glass on the outside. You can't have glass on the inside because it has to create a 2-hour rated assembly. But if you
Perfect.
wanted it open, this thing would close. This wand door would close,
If
and
it
then that
senses
would
like fire.
if it senses a fire. That's right. Just like fire doors shut in a hotel, same kind of idea. So
Mhm.
this thing, if it senses a fire, it closes and creates that stair becomes a fire stair.
Okay.
So I heard them make that comment, and maybe they just don't know about this technology, but I mean this technology works. So you
Cool.
can absolutely have an open stair,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
can't be a glass stair on the inside.
Oh, yeah,
No.
no, we just meant the like window in the back, like
Yeah.
the whole wall.
Yep.
Okay. Then the other one really fast was just because we forgot the exact number. How many
COVID rooms.
COVID rooms, the bigger rooms, was it for the infusion?
If there is
therapy?
any, because we have 30 infusion rooms, do we need to follow any, every 5 have one COVID room or so?
I would use 10% as sort of a magic number.
Okay.
Yeah. Just say, you know,
Okay.
Compton said 10% of our rooms are adaptable for COVID or something like that. That way, when they say, "Where'd you get that number?" Oh, Compton told us, and then you can blame me for that.
Okay.
Okay.
You have something else, I can tell, but you're afraid to ask, or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just did like, I don't know if you remember our floor plan from last week. That was looking a little bit weird.
Our sardines.
Yes, our Altoid box.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we changed it up a little bit, and we just wanted like your general kind of opinion
Bring
of
it on.
if you could give.
Bring it on.
We inspired a lot on the posters that we had.
With the
Mhm.
watercolor swirl.
But be mindful, we still have a skin that will wrap and change a
Yeah,
lot.
we don't have the skin there yet. The model is missing the skin.
And the overhangs and so on.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is just like the form of the wall.
Let's see it.
Read the screen.
I'm a rip the Band-Aid off instead of ease your way into it. Just show me what you're talking about.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember me showing you that project? I was like, oh, the curves. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
kind of
was-
that's how this feels.
I will say we focus on the
Mhm.
curves more on the farmers and having art to justify this part.
We're
And on
making like a
the-
transitionary like hallway leading to it.
Yes.
I don't love it. I'm not the one you have to convince,
Okay.
but I don't love it. I mean, let me show you. Like you guys you're heading down. I think you're heading down this path, right? I don't know, y'all. I just I don't love it. Their curves are more severe than yours, and they have more of them. So if you use them sparingly, maybe it's not so bad. But
Do
the
you
only
just-
thing that made this project not work for me was the use of the curves.
So do you mean that for the form, or what about like in the interior where they have like curved paths and curved ceiling elements? Because that we kind of
The
wanted to.
form. The form.
Okay, just form.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not going to be there to defend it. I'm not going to attack it, nor will I defend it, right? So it's
Yes.
your call. You do what you want to do. But I'll
Okay.
tell you what I told them. I said, don't do the curves. And they like, okay, we hear you. And they did it anyway. So do what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. Sehr gut. Maria, dígame.
All right, let's hope my computer doesn't crash.
Okay, go for it.
Sure.
Oh, fluffy dog.
Ah, it's attacking me.
The fourth member.
Oh, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, Ben. Okay, so we have a couple of questions actually.
Go for it.
So the first one would be how to go about doing like an overhead condition that looks something like this.
It doesn't
obvious-
gotta be
it
that
does, it's not gonna be that complicated, but that sort of like glass overhead.
That's
um,
really pretty easy. So you want like a scalloped box
mhm.
with a glass inset, right? Is what
Yeah.
you're just okay. That's really easy actually. And you can make it as ornate or not is up to you.
Mhm.
But you want me to show you how to do that? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, do you want us to like ask you all the questions and then you can show us, or would you rather go like back and forth?
Actually, it will probably be better if we ask you everything and then you can, or maybe you don't have to say yes to this, but maybe we can like, since we're not meeting since the 10th, do you think it's possible to do like a desk grid where we ask you all
Yeah.
the all questions? Like
Yeah.
today we're gonna ask questions, but maybe like tomorrow or another day we can just
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
we
Absolutely,
email
we can
you
do
about
that.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
But
The second.
what you're showing me right now, I can
Mhm.
reproduce pretty easily. I know how to do that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
assuming
in
you're
this-
talking about Revit, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about Rhino, I don't know Rhino, so I can't
No.
help you.
No.
All right.
No, in this
Okay.
image alone, we want to like, we didn't just get this from this image. This is a good example of what we want to recreate. But do you see the, like, I don't know what to call that, but do you see the ornamentation like on the wall,
Mhm.
the wood trim? I
Yep.
wanted to do that as well.
Easy peasy.
So those are two.
Awesome.
The third question would be how to go about making like brick pattern, like because I don't know if you've seen like brick walls that have like the whole.
Actually,
we
it
have.
should be.
Yeah, just go on
it
the
should be-
interest.
Where's the
Go here.
where is it?
Down. Really down.
Girl.
Keep going.
I'm surprised you
Something
guys
like
don't.
this.
I'm surprised you don't have Sagrada Familia in here as one of your inspirations.
What?
This has a
Well-
Sagrada Familia?
Sagrada Familia has this kind of vibe.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're
Well,
doing. I feel like
yeah.
that's a little bit more abstract though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's
Yeah.
too, yeah. But something like this for the roof, and I can't find the brick
Let me
thing.
see.
But it's like
Go
a
really down.
pattern in the brick, so it's not so.
Just the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah. So that tests my limit.
Okay.
So that I don't have to feel bad for not knowing how to do it.
Well, I think I could.
Look it up.
Well,
Honestly,
I think I could.
well, the way I was thinking of doing it was just making how do you call that? How does Rhino call that? I don't know. But like
Carnival.
openings in the
Mhm.
brick wall,
Mhm.
and then somehow putting glass into that. I don't know.
Yeah.
don't know.
So I would. This is one I would. I think I think I know how I would do this.
We could also just
But
make it
it's-
on Rhino and
it's-
then import it into Revit.
That if you know how to do it in Rhino, that might be simpler. But I would
Just-
ask you to reach out to Patrick to see if he knows how to do it. Patrick, he's in D8.
Okay.
He's been using Revit for
Hunt him down.
years. Yeah, and he knows a lot of parametric skin things. So the tool that
Where
you're
do we
just
go?
the tool
Hmm?
you're describing
Where do
to
Oh.
that in Rhino, something like that exists in Revit already. It's called Dynamo, and
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I think you have access to it for free through Autodesk,
Mhm.
but I don't really know that software super well. So
Oh, it's like Grasshopper?
Somewhere here.
it's like Grasshopper,
There it
yeah.
is.
No.
But I don't know it. So I would encourage you to reach out to Patrick. I think I know how I would do it, but I would cheat a little bit. Like I would fake it using materiality. And what I
That's
mean
what
by
I was
that,
thinking.
Yeah.
so let me show
hard.
you this real quick. And Grant, again, you have to
Oops.
suspend reality for a minute to imagine what I'm trying to show you.
Yes.
So let's say the way Revit works is it treats a material like an image, and then it treats a material with an alpha, meaning a blank opacity or cut as a layered image. Does that make sense? So here's what I mean. So right now, this ceiling is solid and it's acoustic panel. If I change that to a material that has holes in it by design,
Mhm.
let's see if I can find something. Let's see, like this
Oh.
hexagon mesh, right? So I'm going to change that from ceiling to hexagon mesh. And actually, I'm going to delete this. Let me do
Are you
this.
showing us the brick thing or the wall glass opening?
I'm going to show you how I would do the brick thing,
Okay.
but I'm just trying to give you an example of how it works. Oh, am I not sharing? Oh, yeah, you can see this.
You are,
Yeah,
you are,
yeah.
you are.
Okay. So I'm going to copy that, paste that, get rid of this. Okay. Hit apply and okay. And what should be showing up. Oh, wait, it's thinking about it. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. So it looks like it's a mesh. And so what you would do is right now it's looking at that material at a specific scale. So then the hex is, I need it to give me the scale. That's not what I want. I want this. Where is, why can't I change this? Physical. So what you used to be able to do, although it seems like I'm having a trouble doing it, is change the openness of it to make them bigger. That's not it.
I think it might be easier to just do it on Rhino. And then-
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Oh wait, no, that's not it.
Maybe what I think
Yeah, maybe I'm using a bad example.
we can try to see. I mean, like brick material that has that already.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
could I find a brick that already had openings in it, like
Oh, look.
decorative blocks, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then here we go. So see where it says, like, am I just being impatient or why is it not? What it used to do is when you click on the image, it would let you tell you the height and the width of the thing, right? But for some reason, it's not letting me change the default size. Like it.
Mm.
This is a newer, well, it's 24. Maybe you need to upgrade to 25. I'll have to think about that. But anyway, where I was going with, you can create a simple image with an alpha channel or a transparency to it, right? And then assign that pattern to, in case like a brick wall, and then just in Photoshop, cut out all the holes or take the image that you have with the holes already in it, make sure those holes are painted black, and then they would show up as openings in the material. That's how this mesh works, is you're seeing, well, not anymore, but you're
So do
seeing
we even make our
through that.
own like texture and material and input it into Revit?
Yeah, but that's super
Kind of
easy.
like how
That's
yeah.
super easy. So for example, brick with openings, right? And so I just find an image and you want it to be as flat as possible, right?
Like the first one's fine, probably.
Yeah, probably. Oh, well, actually, someone has asked this question. What is the best way to create this look in Revit? Ideally, make something show up in renderings, and then I guess someone has tried to. Oh, they're answering it the same way I would, right? With these, see, there's that metal thing, and the cutouts, the size of the cutouts. So it seems like you need. Oh, look, there we go. No, that's different. They're doing this individually one by one. That would suck. Don't do that.
I think that's what I would have to do on Rhino.
Yeah, don't do that.
honestly thought that
This would
you
be much faster.
I honestly thought that you would just tell me that.
Well, I mean, you could, I mean, that's one way, right? For sure, you could do it by hand. What I really want to see is, I want this image, just this image. Why can't I get just the image? I
If you go
don't,
into the
Right-click.
website, yeah, just
Right click and then open
Ins-
image. in
instead of
different-
visiting the website, just yeah.
open image. Ah, there we go. Okay. Save image as. No, definitely not with my taxes. Gallery. Okay, so this is how we do a custom material. So I'm going to use the same thing again. And don't laugh at the scale of the thing. This won't be see-through yet because I haven't applied the alpha channel, but you'll see how it is to make a material. So you're going to choose, I'm going to create a new material, call it brick or Burke, because I can't spell, right? And then under generic, I'm going to choose the image I just downloaded. Where is it? Is it pictures? No, where was it?
You put in gallery.
Gallery. Yeah, gallery. Here it is. Okay. Of course it's not supported. All right, where was that again? Here.
Save image as.
Sugar. I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah. That's how I always do it. It's the
Yeah.
easiest.
Although I lost it. I think it's hidden behind you all. Here it is. Okay. Now, the other thing you have to be worried about is the repeat pattern quality of it. That's another whole thing to fight. But for right now, I just want to prove that it's proof of concept, right? So screenshot, gallery, yes. Revit, PNG, open, and then we're going to tell it. There we go. So this was popping up. It wasn't popping up before. You can tell it how big it is. So in this case, I want, oh, no, that should be 0. I want the size, that's fine, to be 50 feet. Oh, not 50 inches, 50 feet. That's going to get super pixelated because it's not supposed to be that big, but you'll get it. Right?
Mm.
Custom material. Now, if I want those things to be see-through, I select that thing again. Okay, it's been a minute. See where it says cutouts. We're going to select cutouts. We're going to choose that thing, and you're supposed to darken. So all the things in black should be open, right? And you also need to make sure that
Yeah,
it's
it worked.
it needs to be completely aligned. It kind of looks like it worked. I'm not sure if it did, but we'll see.
Yay.
Well, it made it transparent. It didn't.
Entirely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, 'cause it's too dark, the entire thing.
exactly right. So you need to get ultra
You
black
can
and ultra
adjust
white.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what I should have done, and I don't know if
You're right,
since
What if we import it as a PNG from Photoshop and we remove that background?
Yeah.
even better. But I'm going to show you how I would have done it because I don't have Photoshop. So everybody else is sort of like, come on.
That's what I use for my pinup.
Photopea or
Yeah.
Photo Pickle. They changed it
It's
for
name.
for April 1st.
Must
All
be
right.
it.
So I want to Adjust brightness. Okay, I think that's going to work.
Do you think it's
Maybe.
gonna, because I see that in Revit, it also took the darkness of the divisions of the bricks as,
Some order.
yeah,
Yeah, because I didn't do this process I'm doing right now.
okay, so it
Um,
should,
It should work better. Remove background. What will that do? Oh, didn't do anything. Whoa, crap. What just happened? I guess ads.
oh,
Let's
I
see.
removed something. I removed one thing.
Um, where is image? I want to remove all the color. And I can't find, oh, here it is. Image adjust, desaturate. Oh, I had something selected. That's why it didn't work. Desaturate. There we go. Okay, so now it's a true black and white map. Yeah, you're right. So all the lines are gonna be, they're gonna show up. So maybe what you would do is just delete everything, right? Except for those things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna save that. Sorry, that's not how Photopea works. Export PNG. Ooh, I wonder if that is that gonna show up as transparent. I need to fill that actually with white. That's better. Okay, now export as PNG. But call it download to 12. Fine. Go back to Revit. Edit. 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 Oh wait, where did I put it? It's under
I think
gallery.
Got it.
Did
I think checking your
downloads?
downloads.
Yes, beautiful, good job. All right, now that should work. Same pattern, same everything. Hit apply. Okay. Fingers crossed. Whoop, whoop. That's how you do it. Just like that. And then let's see if Edscape respects the opacity or the cut. It should. No, it didn't.
That's fine. We can probably edit that. That shouldn't be too hard to edit.
Yeah, bummer. I need to
And I'm
figure
thinking
that
that
out.
the wall that we're using this for isn't. I don't know. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's gonna drive me insane that it didn't work. Because it's supposed to respect the openings.
Maybe it's the material that you use as the base.
Or maybe it just hasn't uploaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It works in Revit, just doesn't, Enscape
Yeah.
didn't like it for some reason. So you'll have to figure that out, but yeah. I mean, it works
Yeah.
in Revit,
Thank you so much.
so. Yeah, good exercise. I thought that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it, but ask Patrick for sure, because he probably has a smarter way of doing it. This is absolutely a workaround.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you show us the
The other two.
other two?
What was the other two?
The trim?
Trim and the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Ah,
And
The
then
trim.
another question.
And then we have another question.
all right. Well, the trim is going to be similar to the barrel vault, right? Similar to this. So
But
what
it's
am I?
like it's a trim on the lower part of the wall.
Oh.
And it's like it's decorative, so it's not just
Yeah,
do you
that's
Mhm.
just a series of,
Huh?
that is going to be a series of extrusions, push and pulls, like that's going to be very custom.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
really
no.
easy. It's really easy. It's not hard, but you're gonna have to take time to do that, right? So for example, if we went to the first floor, actually, I want to
You're
go
not
to,
showing us anything.
oh, okay, sorry.
Something.
All right, so I'm going to use this opening as an example. So I'm just going to draw a simple wall.
What I have been doing for cuts and walls, like we have this, do you remember? It's okay if you don't. Do you remember in our skin study, we have like a huge column that goes 3 stories? In that one, it's connected to a wall.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yep.
I didn't use a column, I just used a wall that goes 3 stories and then I customized it so that it looks like a column
Well, I
that
think I'm going to show you
blends
something.
into the wall.
I'm going to show you something real quick. And again, you're going to be more or less ornate, right? So let's say, so I'm going to do a model in place, and we can call it walls or whatever you want. And then in this case, I'm going to choose my background, my plane, my working plane to be the front face of this wall. And I'm just going to make some geometries. Let's say that, okay.
Okay.
And then, but I'm actually going to cut out, and I'm going to offset that, say 3 feet. So, and maybe that's not the right dimension, but you'll get there,
Base.
okay? So I'm just making a U shape right now, right? And I want that to be like 4 inches thick. Oops. So I just made a simple extrusion based on that wall face. Okay. And then I'm going to open that up again, but this time, oops, sorry. But now I'm going to do another sweep, but I'm going to use one of these shapes to carve out of it. So I'm going to create a void form, and not a void extrusion, create void sweep. Okay, so I'm going to pick my path. I'm going to pick the inside of this guy, and then I'm going to sketch in plan what this thing should look like. So what I want it to do, this is the thing I'm cutting out of it, okay? What I want to do is something like this, but it's going to, and again, you'll take the time to massage this, right? So let's say these things are filleted and then fillet again. You with me so far? Have you followed the thought process? Okay, so I'm removing this material from this this donut. So when I look back at it like that, what it should do is make that shape, right?
Okay.
So it's
Working.
it's how ornate you want to get with it, right?
See.
And what you want to do with it, and it doesn't have to
I've been
be
doing doors the wrong way.
well, and it doesn't have to be,
Oh, can we
you
do
know,
that on a door?
Probably. That's kind of the same thing I did.
He's about
yeah,
to say no.
you probably
Oh.
could. You probably could. Right? So it depends on you have to tweak the path instead of being this path, it's that path. And
Yeah.
so there's a bunch of different ways you can do that.
And
Um,
then how do I take that and is that an element now
It's a
that I can like
component.
use?
Yeah, so if you made that outside of Revit, you can make this a door and then use that in multiple walls. Yeah,
No,
for sure.
wait, I
So
don't
you-
know if I,
Yeah, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So new
no, but not outside of Revit, in Revit.
no, I mean outside of this model.
Like you
So
can make it in
Oh.
right now and then put into Revit.
oh no, you can make it
No.
in Revit and use it as a door.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't want a door. It was
Oh.
something we made a door. We
Oh,
made a
okay.
door. We made custom doors and windows and
Okay.
railings. I don't want to hear
Nice.
custom again.
Nice.
I want to know that I can make this trim, right? And then just use it as a trim. Is it gonna be the component of a trim, or do I just copy paste it and like make sure that everything is
It's
in
copy
place?
paste, but it's a component. You can move it from floor to floor, place to place.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah.
if we make it like that, we can do a sweep, so it does the entire floor,
Oh, true.
So-
Okay.
right?
Right?
Maybe.
If it's
I'm
a
not
base
sure I
trim.
followed that.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I think
Well,
like it's
so I'm going to answer the same question with your skylight thing, right? So let me show you that real quick. So ignoring that thing, let's go to this guy. I don't know how that shape got so funky. Let's just make an opening like that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want a wooden thing that offset the wall, right? That curves up and forms the beginning of glass or the beginning of skylight.
mhm.
And so in order to do that, I gotta have some walls. And so both of these walls are gonna go up to level, say. Okay, so there is my, actually I'm gonna flip this.
How
Go.
do I make it so that like is there a way to make it so that I can is this like the entire model?
What do you mean?
What's my question? I have this model on Revit, right?
Yes.
And it takes up the whole working window. Do I
Yes.
have to make this in another file and then put it into
No.
my
No, I'm working live in my Revit model. Now,
Just
if
have
you
to make
want
it
it to
section.
be, if you want it to be a family, you build it somewhere else and plop it in this model, you can do that. But
Okay.
I'm making it live in this model.
How? You've made
I'm-
it you
I'm just
Oh, a
using
section.
this.
That makes sense. My
Yeah,
bad.
I'm in a section.
Mhm.
So what I was trying to describe to you earlier is what I think this thing is, the way I would make the thing that you showed me is using sweep again, right? So I'm going to do architecture component model in place. I'm going to do a, I think it's a wall. That's what I want to call it. And then I'm going to do sweep. But this time, actually, I need to be in plan first. I'm going to pick my path. Right, there's my path. Now I need to edit the profile. I'm going to do that in section. Oh, I'm actually in the wrong section. Dang. Yeah, I need to be in the other section. I need to be this one. No, that was right. Never mind. Okay. So I'm going to draw this thing essentially like this.
It's being recorded.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, your details are going to be different than mine.
Yeah, but just so I don't because I know I'm gonna miss a step or something if I just try to do it from memory.
Right. So let's say it's something like that, right? Okay, and let's see this in 3D. Hit OK. So you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's doing that volume up thing.
Mhm.
And then assuming, that's the right material, and then you can see a cross section of what that's doing. Assuming that's the right material or wood or whatever, you can add details along the way, just using a repeating pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would use a curtain system or a roof in this case, roof by footprint for the glass. So now I'm assuming you want, is it like a flat roof or like a domed roof, or what do you think it is?
Don't.
Probably don't, yeah.
Okay, so and that's going to change my answer. So I'm going to do architecture, I'm going to do roof. Oops. Stop that. I'm going to do roof by, now, is it, yeah, I'll answer that question. Actually, you know what I might want to do is mass it. I might want to mass it.
Single tree.
Say what? Oh, okay. So I might want to mass it, but I'm gonna try it this way first. So roof by extrusion. Pick a plane. I'm gonna use that flat surface. Fine. And then I don't know that it gives me, yeah, there we go, sloped glazing. And I want to be in section 2, I think it is. Actually, nudge that over a little bit. So in the way roofs by face works is you just draw the profile, hit OK, and it fills in the glass, right? But you have to give it where it's supposed to be radius, you have to give it some more grid lines, or it's just going to be faceted. And there's doing some funky things there. Right? So now when I look at that guy in 3D, oh, of course it went the wrong way. So I need to pull it back. Actually, I still have my section box on. I gotta turn that off. There we go. So I'm gonna use the align tool to align that face and then align that face. All right, you with me so far? And then you're going to, there's no horizontal, or sorry, this way. So you just add ones that feel right, whatever that means. I'm just trying to show you how you do it, but you'll take more time and attention to that. And then I'm going to isolate this thing so I don't have to see all the other stuff while I'm working. Isolate element. Right, so there's the glazed piece. And then add mullions to all of it. I kind of got there. And then let's go back to floor plan.
Slay.
You Slade Compton.
Slay the
Oh,
house down.
I got you.
boots.
Yeah, I wasn't watching you. I was doing my thing. All right, so again, I am just trying to prove the concept. I'm not doing all the detailing that you would be doing, but I think it would look something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're the
So, yeah.
bestest.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
We're not done yet.
Oh, okay. What else you got?
Okay,
Okay.
2 more questions. Go on, Mario.
I have very specific questions about railings.
Railings suck. It's my least favorite feature in Revit. But keep going.
Okay.
Me too, thank you.
So I'm making
Posts.
these posts.
Mhm.
And what's happening is when they go into the project, this little ball at the top is getting stuck to this thing.
Hmm.
And I joined the
Yeah, but
rest.
yeah, so what's happening if you open up the anatomy of a rail, can you open up so you're in the rail now. If you go back to your project real quick. So what's happening is your rail isn't designed to flex with the height of your rail. You've made it all one height, right? So that little ball thing is associated with the top line. And if you click on that rail and hit edit. Oh gosh, I can't on my glasses. Hold on. Let me get glasses real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna move you over to my bigger screen, and then I'm gonna ask you to zoom in. Okay, so see where it says rail structure. Hit edit. Oh, you should have a bunch of shit there.
I think I
Can't
took it all out to create like a custom one.
cancel that. Um, Okay, so see where it says baluster placement? Hit edit that.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Okay, so see where it says base offset and top offset? How tall are your balusters right now?
Of 4 feet.
No, the ones you handmade.
4 feet.
Oh, okay, including the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And so the top of the ball is at 4 feet.
In the family like creation
Right.
mode, yes.
Right. Weird. So they're not showing
And
up here at all.
no. And these are the same balusters.
Hmm. Yeah, now I don't know. This is what I thought was happening is your baluster wasn't made to stretch in height. And what I thought was happening is your top offset is higher or lower than you modeled it as a family. And so because it wasn't made to stretch, it didn't know how to reconcile that ball. And so the ball is, 10 feet in the air or something.
I did have that too, also. That happened once.
Can you zoom out? Can we see the ball at all, or it's just gone completely? So it
I think it's
doesn't live
just
anywhere. It's completely gone. All right,
yeah.
open up that family one more time. I think I might understand something. Click the ball part. No, not that. The ball. Yeah, click that. And is that a separate model in itself?
These are joined. Like if I press join, oh, well, I joined it on my computer, but okay, now it's all one.
Well, hold on. But all right, so select that thing, just the ball part. And then go to, it says visible. See, no, go back. See where under graphics it says visible, there's a check mark. What I was thinking is maybe it was accidentally unchecked, meaning it wasn't visible in that view. But it's visible. All right, so load that back into your project and see if that makes a difference.
Oh.
And the railing.
I just check all of it. Huh. Wait, go back to the rail again. Open the family. Click it again. It's disjoined again.
Yeah, it's like, but then when I press join, it's all highlighted.
Okay, so do this step by step. Instead of load into project, click load
Mhm.
into project and close. And don't hit it. No, not that one. Hit that one. And before you hit anything, just check all of them. Check all of those. Yep. And then it should ask you, do you want to overwrite existing parameters, right? So hit OK. Do you want to save changes? That's up to you. Yep. And now you have specified a backup file. Do you want to specify a backup file? Do you want to save to outdoor?
I'll just say no for that.
Okay.
Yes.
It didn't ask you to overwrite.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. What it should have done, it says, do you want to override the existing family parameter?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't ask you that, which
I've
is
had
weird.
I've had that happen too. Like it's asked me that before.
But that
'Cause I've seen, like,
answers yes.
uh-huh.
And
And
so
then
click,
before there was also a time where the ball was like inside of the baluster, like down below, and it looked like it was like connected to the rail. But I
change it
took
to
off
wire, change to wireframe real quick. It's weird that
Just-
it's gone completely. Yeah, it's so weird.
Let me make sure this is the right family.
Something changed.
I think it did anything.
Yeah, the only thing I can suggest is opening it, saving it, do a save as, and name it something completely different, not even remotely close, and then load it into this railing as that different thing. And if it still doesn't, then I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, but the railings suck. It's my least favorite thing.
Yeah. I do have a
Matter-
second
matter
and
of
last
fact,
question.
I don't even use balusters this way.
Mhm.
I just use a really tall railing and I make glass railings everywhere because I hate them.
Yeah.
So
We
go ahead.
want to go for this like
Yeah.
cast
Cool.
iron thing
Yep.
with those balusters on the corners and the ends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also giving me issues where when I load this into the project, it says something about the sketch graphics or like the constraints won't allow it, and it just deletes it and doesn't let it load into the thing.
Because of the panel dimensions. So the way panels work in Revit is the panel has to be flexible so that you can get a 2-foot panel, a 6-inch panel, an 8-foot panel, 4, right? It has to flex. And if it wasn't modeled that way so that it could flex, then it's going to crash out every time.
Okay.
So that's what's happening. So what I'm proposing to you instead, and this is a workaround. You can sort of rack your brain and try to make it do what you want it to do. I would just model these and manually place them. Like, don't use the railing command, just manually place them along the openings and just be done with it. Like, just banging
Okay.
your head trying to get the tool to do what it's supposed to do it's just not worth your time. Just, you already have it modeled, right? Just use it as a component, a model in place component. Put it everywhere you want it manually and be done with it. Same thing with the balusters. I wouldn't waste any more time trying to figure that out.
Okay.
It's up to you. I hate this is my least favorite tool.
Do you think it will be, if we do it that way, it would be too noticeable?
I don't
Like-
think so. I don't
Okay.
think so. Nope. And you're going to use this sparingly. This isn't everywhere. It's just in that, just in the opening area, right? So
It's just on the outdoor terraces for
Yeah.
this one.
yeah, I
And
wouldn't.
the indoor ones, we're doing glass railings, and we want to do like a frosted glass with like a pattern in it
Mm,
for the inside.
I mean, you might have to Photoshop that.
That's what I was thinking. We probably gonna have to Photoshop because I was looking up like ways to do it, but it's like getting that
Yeah.
tired.
I can tell you how to do it, and it's exhausting. So I did. not quite the same thing, but I wanted vinyl decals on the doors to, actually, I'll show you. I don't know, actually, I don't know if I have this.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull this up. So this is one of the last projects I did at RSNH before I left, and it was for an infusion, pediatric infusion. Oh gosh, where am I? For some reason I've lost Zoom. Okay. Share screen 2. Oh, screen 1 is what I want, screen 1. All right, can you all see that? So these are renders I did for this project at Advent, and it's a pediatric infusion area. You see the fish on the glass door, right? So it's kind of like what you're describing. It was supposed to be a line work vinyl decal, not. You can make those look frosted, but essentially what it is exactly what I just showed you on the brick cutouts. So you have a pattern, everything else is transparent. It's on an alpha channel, and then you apply it to as a separate layer to the glass material, right? It's
Okay.
essentially another skin, another surface. And I think it looks believable. I mean, it looks like a vinyl sticker. It doesn't look like a but it's such a pain in the butt. Like it was, so there I
Yeah.
did the same thing. So right there's the frosted glass. That's a second layer, a second piece of glass. That's the only way I could pull that off.
Okay. So it'd
But
probably be better to just Photoshop the design and stuff into the renderings.
that would be, again, had I not tried to make, and the only reason I didn't do that is because this was the way I do my projects. I walk my clients through the model, through the Enscape, and the Photoshop, you can't Photoshop in Enscape, right? So in order to show up in the animation, I had to have them Revit rendered. But if you're just doing still images and it's not part of your animation, Photoshop and be done. It's just not worth your time.
Okay.
So
Alright. That was the last question.
Animation is, wait, no, one more question. So the animation is, wait, no, this doesn't count. The animation is optional?
is it? I don't think so.
Oh, you said if you're doing,
If that's something that we're gonna show within the animation.
oh, my bad.
Yeah. Animation is not optional, but
Showing
if
that
you're
animation.
showing that detail, right? If you're showing that detail in your animation, you're going to want to take the time to figure it out in Enscape or Revit. But if it's just a still image that's not part of your animation, then just Photoshop it.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Now this is the last question, and then we'll let you go.
They
okay,
always
You're
have
not-
another one.
You're not done yet.
okay.
So this is what we have so far. Right? The main thing that we're having trouble with right now, let me.
Do you like it?
Do you like it?
So far, so good. I mean, I'm reserving judgment till I see all of it, but yeah,
Okay.
so far, so good.
Me with
Well,
my
actually,
custom
we just
doors.
added a bridge. This is not even like the latest.
Yeah.
And that door isn't actually going there. It's just
Yeah,
to show
it's just
you.
yeah. Just the doors.
Cool.
Actually,
He's gonna have a heart attack.
No, I like it so far.
Yay. Okay. What we were trying to ask about was where to place the
staff
elevator.
The staff elevator. We have two
Specific.
elevators that work. Oh, did you show him the double height?
Which part?
The only double height part. Let's hide this. Hold on, Pookie. Stay with me.
You could cut a section and show me what it is that you're talking about.
I'm gonna show you the
section
whole
marks.
thing. Look at that.
Okay. Interesting. What's that little nubbin over there?
We're putting an
little-
elevator there.
Okay.
This.
No, I was talking about the sort of key nubbin at the top right corner.
The key. The what?
The what?
pan around so I can see more of the opening?
The opening. That's not the opening.
What are
Yeah,
you
The
talking?
double height
The
space.
double height.
Yeah, and the double height. It's okay. It's not a big deal. I was just curious. Yeah, right there. Stop.
Oh,
See that
so that's-
little round circly bit right there?
Mhm.
Yeah, that. What's going on there?
we can work on that, but my idea was that it makes more of an indent into this area because this is supposed to be a more private area.
Hmm.
And so somehow they're either lured to
There-
this area or this area. So
There
it, like,
has to
hurts
be a
that way.
reason, in my opinion, there has to be a reason in the architecture for that to push out, right?
Yeah.
It can't just
Yeah.
be you want to, no, what I'm saying is something in the architecture is forcing that out, like a column or an art piece, or it can't just because you wanted to narrow the path. It has to be,
Purposeful.
it has to be an implied force, right? That is making that shape in that direction.
Because it's so
I believe.
abrupt.
Exactly. It's foreign. And so because it's foreign, you're
It's gonna
expecting
be
there's,
questions.
yes, you're
Okay.
expecting something is creating that phenomena, but I don't see anything in the architecture that's creating it. It feels arbitrary.
So we
So-
could just cut that out.
Or create a reason for that phenomenon to exist, right?
Elevator could
Like in
be
this
there.
in the ceiling condition. might
Something in
be
the ceiling, there
something-
could be a column there could be a tree growing up out of the ground. Some reason
That would be cool.
for that to wrap around instead of just cutting off.
Okay, but that's good to hear for the entire project. So
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What were we asking?
The
Oh,
elevator.
yeah. So the elevators that we placed,
Mhm.
specifically, I needed them to go into the double height space, right?
Mm.
And we don't know where to place the staff elevator. We have it right here. In the newest one, we have it around here and it works great, but the only problem is the radiation areas.
What does that mean? Say that differently.
The radiation area is in the first
the vault-
floor,
The vault.
and the elevator would be like right. Let me see. The place that I found to put it is literally right here.
Yeah, that can't work.
Right.
Now, what you can do is you could have elevators that don't go all the way to the ground, right? You could have some elevators that go from ground to 1, and then the rest go from 1 to 3. there's-
we had that idea, but then also it would defeat the purpose of the staff elevator, right? Would that be too complicated or like annoying for
'Cause
the
the
staff?
reason why we did it like that was for it to go within the concept. So that would go outside, like that would already stray away from that. We would have to find a different
Why would
way.
it go outside of the concept?
I'm just saying that's the initial concept that we came up with. So
Of
we would
the
have
ele-
to
of the-
change,
for
yeah,
the
if we
staff
change that, we have to
elevator.
update
Yeah.
it, which is fine. It would just be a matter of explaining how or why the staff elevator would now be divided into 2 rather than just be the original, which was for
Yeah.
easy access from the top floor to the radiation, which
Because
will most likely need more.
We
staff.
could just put an elevator in the nurse station in the 3rd floor that goes from the 3rd to the 4th floor. But yeah, it does take that
We want
away.
the staff to reach every floor like very quickly and
Especially
easily.
because we're dividing it into 2 main things.
Mhm.
But do they need to? Like you want to, but do they need to? And here's where I'm going with this. It's kind of a roundabout story, but for years ago, the hospital CEO or hospital C-suite wanted to eliminate break rooms on all the patient floors and force all the staff to go all the way to the ground floor to take their lunch. Now, why that didn't work is all the staff, they basically have 30 minutes. So when they leave the 7th floor or 8th floor, they have 30 minutes to get to the bottom floor. First of all, they have to wait on an elevator, right? Elevators are trafficked. They have to wait on the elevator, get to the bottom floor, buy the lunch or unpack their lunch, eat it, get back in the elevator and back upstairs all within 30 minutes. And what we found out is that didn't work. So we went through all these gymnastics to make sure that elevators were easy access. And in truth, they only used them when they went up for the morning and then when they came home in the evening. They never used them during the day. So what I'm asking you is, do they really need to get everywhere all at the same time fast? Or could this one group just have their own dedicated elevator from 3 to 4 that doesn't go all the way to the bottom for the 1 or 2 times a day that they go off unit? Do you see
So the
you see what I'm getting
staff-
at?
So actually, that might be a question that we need answered in terms of, because you have more experience with dealing with hospitals.
Mhm.
Do you think that we should have an elevator that, so we have an elevator then in the lobby that goes up until the 3rd floor
Mhm.
and the double high floor, and then we have the elevator, this one, that goes outside of our form to also access the 3rd floor from El Rincón. Do you think that a third one that goes all through the floors is necessary, or just the third from 3rd to 4th? Because
I
the
don't think
stairs are not all in the same place. It's not like the
I
staff
don't
has
think
like a staff stair.
I don't think it's necessary. It's certainly convenient to have it go from ground to 4, but it's not necessary. The other thing you need to think about, though, because what I think what I hear you saying is that if it isn't that way, then the staff would share elevators with patients. And so something else you need to think about isn't just patients. How do you get trash in and out of the 4th floor? How do you
Right, so
get
that would be for the for the
Yeah.
staff elevator, right?
right,
Because
right?
that's exactly it. So then where do you suggest that we could put it, or do we need to change our form more?
I wouldn't change the form more. It's already super complicated. You wouldn't want the form to respond to elevator locations, especially when you've already proposed exterior, what's the word?
Skin?
No,
Well,
where you're attaching the
stuff?
elevators to the exterior facade, right? You already have that language on a different face. Why not do it on the east face
because
also?
it doesn't work. It literally doesn't
The
work.
thing
In the
is-
east face, there's east, right?
This is the east, the up part.
Well, this is the north. This is the north. But in the north, it's just like that for convenience for working it, but I promise it'll be the right side up in the last one.
Sure.
In the north, there isn't a do you see how it just doesn't go
Yeah.
like
Yep.
the 3 floors just don't, unless you cut into the radiation, and obviously we can't do that.
Can't
But
do
I
that.
saw in one of the projects that you showed us that they cut into the parking lot next to our site. Is that possible?
You can break the rules as long as you can defend the break. Right?
Because
Because the main reason why we even had that elevator there is because all of the soiled rooms, like the soiled, cleaning stuff, are all set on that side as well. And also the pharmacy is on the 4th floor. So that was also the reason why we had put it there specifically, so that you could access the radiation or the infusion really quickly from the pharmacy. We could change
we
it, but
don't-
it would have to.
and we don't wanna we don't wanna take away convenience for aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of changing the form again just to accommodate an elevator.
Yeah.
So you know, in the end of the day, I don't want to say it like this because
I think actually, like if we're allowed to cut into that area, we can probably expand the gown changing rooms and make the back hallway like we wanted, and then that's where we will place the elevator that would then somehow. Never mind, it doesn't even go into that.
Add a little node for it that just says
Yeah.
something else.
Or like even if we put it like at this end over here.
Yeah, but then
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't.
Extend this little piece like just a little bit for an elevator to go up.
Yeah, we could divide this terrace, and well, no, because guys, this is the radiation.
I don't want to get in the art in the middle of the design.
No,
what I'm
we
gonna-
need
what-
you.
I can't advise you which design decision to make. I can
This
simply
isn't a design thing, I think.
I'm gonna offer it this way.
Mhm.
I would encourage you not to change the form of the building again. How you solve the elevator thing, or like, does it go all the way up, or does it stop or does it go just from 3 to 4? What I'm telling you is that is something that you could do from an operational perspective, because once they get to their floor, they're not leaving their floor to go anywhere else. So that ease or need to be fast from floor to floor to floor to floor isn't real, isn't present. Once they
Even
get to
though
their
we
floor,
have the
they're done.
pharmacy in the 4th floor, like
It's not a retail
pharmacies-
pharmacy. That pharmacy, and I'm not sure if I heard Michael right. This isn't a retail pharmacy. That pharmacy only exists to provide drugs for the chemo patients, right?
Right.
So they're going to receive deliveries of raw ingredients, but there's not a bunch of back and forth. There's, you're going to get a bulk delivery in the morning. All the pharmacists are going to be up there. They're going to do their compounding. All the waste is going to come down at night through probably the public elevators. Like I don't believe that you need to do any gymnastics to make one elevator goes every floor for staff only. I just don't think that's
You
necessary.
don't think we're sacrificing convenience?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is how the staff would get from the 1st floor to their break room. There's an elevator around here that gets to the 3rd floor,
Yep.
and then there's a bridge over here that is not present here, but it's in the most updated model.
Yep.
And then there's an elevator here that
Perfect.
gets to the 4th.
Perfect.
That's cool?
I think so.
Okay. So then we just bye-bye to that story. To that.
To the elevator.
All I'm encouraging you is you're running out of time. And you're going to spin your wheels trying to massage and manipulate all this for a staff elevator. It's just not worth your time. Just make a decision, right, wrong, or different. Make a decision and move on. And then when they ask you, hey, why did you do this? Well, we were thinking because of how we understand operations of this facility. Once they get to their location, they're there all day. They're not a bunch of back and forth. They didn't need that ease of access. They just needed access. And so we prioritized other elements of the building over the staff elevator. Done. And they
Okay.
either buy your argument or they don't. But you're not going to lose, you're not going to
Okay.
not do good because of you didn't put the staff elevator in the right place.
Okay, and due to the form, well, right now, the stairs that are able to reach the 4th floor are only on the outside.
Okay.
Like they go
But
from
they
the
go,
courtyard
but
to the
they go
inside.
all the way down, right?
So these are the stairs at the moment. There's the stair de El Rincón to the 2nd floor.
It's enclosed.
Yes. And then we
Okay.
have the stairs from the 1st floor to the 2nd in the courtyard,
And it's
which I don't know
enclosed.
why it's not showing in the first one, but
No, those are like.
that's
they're
the
within
outside
atrium.
stair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay. You
that's the
need
outside stair. No.
dedicated.
From the 1st to the 2nd floor, there's the Rincón stair and the outside stair. Do we need more?
Yes. You need a dedicated stair that is a 2-hour fire separation from every floor to the bottom.
Yeah.
The
And
only
it has to be continuous.
if it's not continuous, then it has to have a 2-hour rated tunnel from one stair to the next stair. Think of it like this, okay? You're on the 4th floor, there's a fire. When fires break out, you can't take the elevator. You have to take stairs, right? If there's not 2 stairs, if there's only 1 stair and the fire's in that stair, everyone on that floor is cooked. You're done. You need 2 stairs, right? To every floor. And if you get to that stair and you get to, let's say, 3rd floor, and the stair doesn't go past the 3rd floor, and there's a fire on the 3rd floor, you needed a protected egress from that stair to the next stair so you can get all the way down. Ideally, you have a stair that goes from top to bottom, straight shot, protected. But that's ideal. Sometimes you have to segment them or stretch them. When you stretch or offset them, you have to provide, it's called a horizontal egress. You have to provide a 2-hour rated horizontal egress from stair to stair so you can get all the way out.
So then, is that something that maybe
What,
we could.
what I'm seeing right now doesn't work from a stair perspective.
Right, so I'm thinking of where to place those stairs that like they're just continuous. They're fire
Yeah.
stairs specifically.
Right.
So we could just like maybe somewhere like no, because it's the radiation.
We could just put them where they were originally with the.
Here?
Well, maybe not there, I don't know, but remember the
By the
thing, the
conference?
three, yeah, remember the 3-story?
That doesn't work for the 4th floor.
We
We'll-
would have to
we'll
find
have
like a
to figure it
place,
out.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
but okay, so what you're saying is that it needs to have like a specific type of wall surrounding the stair to protect
Well,
it
this
from
is-
fire?
This is what I tried to tell the folks earlier. So in everyday world, it's a 4-sided or 6-sided, if you include the top and the bottom. It's a 4-sided concrete box because it's a 2-hour rated assembly.
That's what I was thinking, that we just plug that somewhere outside of it.
Sure. But you absolutely need to create 2 of those, right? You need one on opposite
2 of
ends of
those.
the floor, and it's a 4-sided box. Now, what I showed you, that product, the Wondor, WONDOOR, you can make it a 3-sided box, and then the 4th side is open to the exterior, as long as you had that door that closed in the event of a fire, right? So in that case, the stairs that you're showing right now on one
Once they happen,
could
the
could
parking.
work, but they have to have the wand door in the ceiling to close that area completely off all the way up. Does that make sense?
What
Yeah.
if we move the radiation a little bit like more to here,
Okay.
and that way we can move El Rincón and make the stairs here, and then in the 3rd floor that leads you to a terrace, that in the 3rd floor that leads you to a terrace.
You can't
That
leave a
way-
protected enclosure in the case of a fire. So you couldn't walk outside and then walk back inside. That wouldn't
Oh.
work.
So he
So
said
in
Yeah,
New York, their answer for this is exterior fire stairs, right? You've seen them. They
Yeah.
exist in New York because there was no clean way to get up and down a historic
I
building.
know, that would just change the form, I think.
And those
a
are
lot.
those are illegal now, aren't they?
Yes, well, not everywhere, but in
Florida?
Florida they are. So
mm,
yeah, you can't do those.
So, okay, so we'll figure it out.
Welcome to
we need
real
2 of
world,
those, right?
real world
We-
architecture.
We need 2 of those on opposite sides of the building.
So generally speaking, you need 2 means of egress when your population exceeds 50 people, right? So
Mhm.
we haven't really talked about this in depth, and hopefully Tommy is. Have you guys talked about occupant loads in materials and methods?
Yeah.
Okay, so your occupant load or your occupancy type for this building is called business, which means
Mhm.
your occupancy load is 100 square foot for every 100 square foot, you have to assume a person, right? So if you have more than 50 people based on square footage alone. And so for me, I think that's what, 50,000 square feet? Am I doing that math right? Yeah, it'd be 50,000 square feet. So
In this,
yeah, so if you have one floor or one level or one occupancy that's over 50 people, 100 square foot per person, then you have to have 2 means of egress. If it's 48, you only need 1 means of egress, but you absolutely have to have
our maximum square footage has to be 30,000.
per floor.
No,
The
Not-
common.
no. Many people have 60,000.
that's in the assignment.
Where does it
there's
say
people
that?
there's people that are well over.
Like that's why we included our total square footage in the thingy.
Where does it say maximum square foot? Where are you seeing that? Under programming?
I don't remember, but I saw that at the
I
beginning.
think it was program.
It's not in programming.
Did I make that up?
Uh,
No, it is there.
Maybe in
And I
project
think it's like
2.
32.
Yeah, like 32,000. Because it's for 30 people, but that only
Yeah.
includes the patients.
It's in the project brief, and it says the planned program, which includes infusion, radiation, lymphedema, blood draw, clinical lab, pharmacies, will be well-rounded 32,000 square feet. Cancer Center focuses centerpiece construction of twin linear accelerators. What I'm telling you is the program I gave you is 32,000 square feet, not the maximum. That's just the program I gave
Oh.
you.
Okay.
So it can be bigger. Many people are bigger. But yeah, there's no maximum. The site is your maximum. You have a fixed site. So how big you make it or how tall you make it's up to you.
Okay. So just to recap, you said 100 square feet per person.
It's
And if
for
you get
this
50
occupancy
person-
time, for this occupancy type, it's 100 square foot per person. So if you have 10,000 square feet, right?
Mhm.
Then your occupancy load would be 100 people. No, am I doing that math right?
That
Why
would
is
be
math
100
hard?
people,
How
I
many?
think. It would be 100. But
Yeah,
if it was 50 people, it would be 5,000.
right. So if
So
that
we
floor is
would-
bigger than 5,000, you need two exits, 2 stairs. How big is that floor? How big is the fourth floor?
let me check right now.
The code doesn't care how many people you can fit in it. It tells you how many maximum people you can have by occupancy.
For some reason, it's not recognizing my fourth floor as a room. But
What's the third floor? Because the fourth floor is smaller than the third floor, right?
Yeah. Oh, just the biggest floor.
I think the biggest one is the first one. How do I check the scale of the whole thing?
The
scale.
area? You have
Sorry,
to
the
draw.
area of the whole thing.
You have to draw an area plan. It's just an outline.
Oh,
Or you could do a room table, room schedule, and it would give you the areas.
we did the walls external and internal, so it just did it for us. How do we then?
And then tag the areas.
No, I'm just- Wait.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and think or believe that the fourth floor is bigger than 5,000 square feet.
Sorry?
Which
Is
I believe that it is based on
the
what you've shown me.
courtyard? The courtyard is
Well, we added an extra floor, so it might.
He's talking just about the fourth floor.
Oh, just the fourth floor?
Yeah.
50.
It's more than 5,000 would be my guess.
Oh,
And if it is more than 5,000, you need 2 stairs.
okay.
How do we tag the area?
So then that's only based on the last floor or on each floor?
Every floor,
Every floor.
yeah.
Okay.
So let me,
You need it for one
I'm-
floor, then you need it for
I'm
all.
gonna I'm gonna show you real quick how to do what it is that you're trying to do.
We're so sorry. Well, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. All right. So, this is my first floor, right? And then I have a second
You're not
floor.
showing us.
Oh, am I not? All right, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my first floor. Sorry, second floor. This is my first floor. So you go up to view and you're gonna do plan views, area plan. Okay. And it
Okay.
says, which ones do you want to do? I'm gonna do gross building. I want to do both level 1 and level 2. And it says automatically create. That's the thing you said. So yep. Automatically create, yes. And so now when I scroll down to plans, there should be floor plans. Let's see, where are areas? They after sheets. I have to find the plans. Close families, close sheets. Oh, there, area plans. That's too fast. Okay, so here's level 1. And I'm not seeing any area lines, so under, I think it's, and no, it's not there. Where is it? View,
Architecture.
architecture. Ah, beautiful. Thank you. So under architecture, you do area boundary. And yours already made a boundary. Oh, wait,
Yeah, but it's
okay.
like
Yours already made a boundary for you. I don't have one for some reason. It's telling me these things overlap, which is fine. Oh, gosh. Area boundary. All right, so I'm just gonna draw it because it's being a pain in the butt. Okay, right? So it just created an, using these purple lines, I created an area boundary. And then under annotate, I'm gonna choose area tag. And I'm gonna select, oh wait, so no, oh, I haven't placed the area, never mind. Architecture, area, there, right? And so the tag's already there. So that first floor is 9,000 square feet,
Okay.
which means under an occupant load of 100 square foot per person or corporate occupancy, I can get 90 people in that area.
Mhm.
oh, the
That's-
first floor is 12,000 almost. It's 11,873.
What's the fourth floor? It's more than 5 is my guess.
It won't let me do an area boundary.
Just draw it. Just use, you have to be an area plan to draw it.
So, yeah.
Sorry, this is being a pain.
You're good.
I think I got it now.
You gonna close it?
Yeah. Just that since it was like doing the thing, I thought it was done it, but beautiful. $3,660.
Money. So you only need one elevator, one stair. Well, elevators is however many you want, but stair, you only need one.
We only need one fire.
But the elevator doesn't eat into that, right? It doesn't eat into that square footage, or does it?
Correct. No, it does not. Correct.
That works.
So, but what that also means is you can only have 36 people up there. So,
Well, it's just for staff.
oh, okay, then you should be fine.
Okay,
Yep.
and it's 36 people at a time, so it should be okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome.
you
We'll
so
see
much.
you all again
you.
online Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no.
Oh, no, we have the.
Celebrate the arts.
Mhm.
Celebrate the arts. It's not required. If you see you, great. If not, no problem.
We
But I'm gonna
will
have,
be going because Tommy said that if we go, we get extra credit, and if we bring another person, we don't have to
We don't
present
have
the
to take,
final.
yeah.
We
You should
wait,
have
what?
something
You don't
like
have to
that.
do what? Say that
don't
again?
have to
Take the
No,
final.
we don't have to present the final.
The test.
Oh,
It's the exam.
You don't have to do the final if you bring one
the
other
final
person?
exam. We have two
Exam.
finals.
We have a project and then the exam.
We don't have
Wow.
to take the exam.
You guys think I'm a softie. That guy's a softie. Holy
And
cow.
principal let us not submit the assignment this week if we also show up.
They're
I
too
think
soft.
somebody's falling behind.
Yeah, someone's
Not
missing out.
me. Not me. They're too soft. They're soft.
Hey,
All right.
we'll defend them.
All right. Well, I'm hoping to have my littles with me. So
Nah.
Why isn't
hopefully
your daughter a critic for us anymore for the final?
Because you need actual architects to give you feedback, and she's not an
No, but that
architect.
was so good.
I agree.
Because
I
she
agree.
like because she put people in their place, I think, and I think that was good.
She knows what she's talking about, but she's a user, not a designer. You need designers to give feedback. That's why. So,
But for the
All right.
midterms, I think she's good.
well, I
Or for
appreciate
the,
that.
like, for the yeah.
She wants to come back, and I told her maybe next time, not for the final. But she has a performance on Thursday anyway, so she won't be there, but I'll have my littles there hopefully.
Okay.
So, all right, we'll see y'all. Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.